Hyun Woo walked into the big meeting room with slow steps. His brown uniform looked plain next to all the shiny alien clothes around him. The room was huge with floating platforms. Everywhere 300 different alien species sat watching him. From their special seats, some had tentacles, some had wings, some looked like giant bugs, and some were made of light itself. 10 years ago, when Hyun Woo first came here as a young man, he felt amazed by all these different beings. Now he just felt tired and sad. He had worked so hard to make friends with them. He learned their languages, he studied their customs, he tried to build bridges between Earth and the galaxy. His wife, so young, always supported him through the hard times. She helped him practice alien greetings. She listened when he felt frustrated after long meetings. She believed in his dream of making Earth part of the galactic family. The prime speaker was a big bug-like creature called Veltar. His voice came through translation machine so everyone could understand him. He looked down at Hyun-woo from his high platform and spoke in a serious tone. Ambassador Hyun-woo of Earth, you cannot be serious about leaving us. Hyun-woo remembered his first day here. He was so nervous and excited. He wanted to prove that humans belonged among the stars. He spent many nights reading about alien cultures. He practiced their formal greetings until his throat hurt. He memorized the names of important alien leaders. He dreamed of the day when Earth would have a full seat at the galactic table. I am completely serious, Hyun-woo said clearly so everyone could hear him. Humanity is leaving the Galactic Council. We take back our application for membership starting right now. Strange sounds filled the room. Some aliens made clicking noises, others changed colors. The tentacle creatures started waving their arms around. The crystal beings made musical tones. Everyone seemed shocked and confused. These aliens had become like family to him over the years, but their leaders had made it clear that humans were not good enough. Counselor Vexstar was from the hegemony worlds. He leaned forward on his platform looking worried. But what about our trade deals? He asked. What about sharing technology? What about our defense agreements? Earth has gained so much from working with us. Hyun-woo nodded slowly. It was true. Humans had learned how to travel faster than light from the bird-like Alkari people. They got new medicines from the healing cast that helped cure diseases Earth never could fix before. Their farms now grew 3 times more food thanks to science shared by the plant aliens called Verdani. People on Earth lived longer, healthier lives because of alien knowledge. Yes, we gained much, he agreed, and we gave back too. Human art and music and books have spread across your worlds. Our military plans helped you win wars against the Ravager clans. Our engineers rebuilt the Centauri shipyards when they exploded. The room became quiet. Every alien there knew this was true. Humans had proved they were useful, creative, and loyal. During their trial period, they fought in alien wars. They shared their discoveries. They opened their worlds to alien visitors. They did everything. The council asked then, why? Asked Delegate Myra from the Peaceful Worlds. Her voice sounded like singing, and it carried real confusion. Why leave everything we built together? Hyun-woo pulled out a small device and turned it on. Pictures appeared in the air above everyone, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Human colonies being attacked by space pirates while council ships watched and did nothing. Human trading ships being stolen by member species without punishment. Human diplomatic buildings being burned while local police just stood there because, after 10 years of proving ourselves, Hyun-woo said, and his voice got stronger after bleeding for this council, after sharing everything we have, you still vote to say no to full membership. You still treat us like children, good enough to die for your causes, but not good enough to have an equal voice in decisions. The prime speaker made clicking sounds with his mouth parts, which meant he was getting upset. The council moved slowly on. Such important matters, perhaps in another 10 or 20 years when humanity has grown up, more grown up. Hyun-woo laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. We have fought your wars, shared our science, and opened our worlds to your people. What more growing up do we need to do? He pointed to the empty seats in the lower part of the room. Those seats were for species still trying to prove themselves worthy. You keep us down there grateful for scraps from your table, while you debate whether we deserve basic respect. The weight of his choice felt like a mountain on his shoulders. His daughter Yoon-hee was studying alien biology at the Galactic University. His son Tae-jin worked on a council exploration ship. They would lose chances and friends and futures they had dreamed about, but staying in this fake friendship would cost humanity something more important than opportunities. It would cost them their dignity. The room stayed quiet for a long time. Finally, the prime speaker spoke again. What will it take to change your mind? Nothing, Hyun Woo said simply. The decision is final. Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council. We thank you for the years of cooperation, but we will find our own path among the stars. A delegate from the Crystal People stood up. Their bodies made light patterns when they talked. We have worked together on 17 research projects. How can you abandon all that progression? Wu felt sadness fill his heart. These beings had taught humans so much about science and philosophy. Some had become real friends, but friendship required respect, and respect meant equality. We are not abandoning the work, he said. We are taking it with us. Humans will continue to explore and learn and grow. We will just do it as free people, not as permanent students waiting for permission to graduate. Another alien stood up. Then another. They all asked questions. Why now? Why so sudden? Could they negotiate? Could they find a compromise? But Hyun Woo had heard these same promises for 10 years. Always next year, always when humanity proved themselves a little more, always when they jumped through one more hoop. The truth was simple. The council liked having humans around. They liked human creativity and courage and hard work. They liked human solutions to problems they could not solve themselves, but they did not like the idea of humans having equal power. They wanted useful servants, not true partners. Shin Woo turned to walk out of the room, but stopped at the door. Goodbye, he said. To the 300 alien species watching him, we came here with friendship in our hearts and respect for all life. We leave with that same friendship and respect, but we also leave with our dignity intact. May you find the wisdom we could not give you. As he walked through the corridors toward his ship, Han Woo thought about his wife, so young, waiting at home. She would understand his choice. She had watched him struggle for years, trying to earn respect that should have been freely given. She had seen him come home frustrated after council meetings where his ideas were praised, but his votes were ignored. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders. Humans would explore it on their own terms. Now they would make friends who valued them as equals. They would build something new and better than what they were leaving behind. Behind him, the council chamber erupted in worried voices as 300 alien species realized they had made a terrible mistake, but it was too late to fix. And now the humans were going home. The news traveled faster than light itself across the galaxy through quantum communication networks that connected thousands of worlds in seconds. On the pleasure planet Risa, 7 alien tourists stopped their vacation activities to watch the breaking news on busy Kepler station. Work crews put down their tools as the shocking announcement spread from ship to ship. Dr. Jae Hyun looked up from his research station on the forest world Sylvana, where he had been studying the planet's unique plants and animals for 5 years. The alien research team around him had gone completely silent. Their leaf-like faces turned toward the communication device that just told them the terrible news. Jae Hyun, his research partner Bloom of Morning, spoke with the rustling voice of the tree people. Surely this is a mistake. Your people would not abandon the science work we have built together. The human scientist put down his bioscanner and looked at all the data they had collected together. Their joint research had saved 6 different worlds from dying. Their discoveries about how to heal damaged environments had brought dead planets back to life. The tree people had become more than work partners. They were friends who welcomed him into their cities built in giant trees. They shared their ancient wisdom about living with nature instead of fighting it. Do not think it is a mistake, Jae Hyun said quietly. I think humanity finally got tired of being treated like second-class citizens on an exploration ship hundreds of light years away. Captain Jinho got the same news. The bridge crew was a mix of humans and aliens who had worked together for 3 years. They watched in shocked silence as the official message played on their main screen. The crew had become like a family, people from different worlds who trusted each other completely. Sir, Lieutenant Commander Park So-min came to him. Her voice was carefully controlled. What are orders? Jinho looked around the bridge at faces he trusted with his life. His tactical officer was a warrior creature named Steel Claw, who had saved him during the Void Wraith attack. His science officer was a smart tentacle being named Quick Current, who could do space math in his head. His engineer was a patient bird person named Gentle Wing, who taught him to see beauty in engine design. We finish our current mission, Jinho decided. After that, we follow Earth's order and go home. The tentacle officer's arms drooped sadly, but Captain, our exploration Of the Andromeda Reach is only half done. The old ruins we found could change everything we know about the first civilization. Jinho felt pain in his chest. This mission was everything he had worked for as a ship captain, the chance to explore unknown space, to meet new species, to push the boundaries of knowledge itself. But he also understood why Earth made this choice. I know, quick current. But sometimes the most important things we discover are about ourselves. On New Shanghai Station, the popular singer Min Hee was getting ready for what would be her last performance for a galactic audience. Her concerts drew beings from across the galaxy. Her music somehow translated deep human emotions into something that touched alien hearts. She had diplomats and traders, warriors and scientists, all singing along to songs born on Earth. Her manager, Profit Seeker, rushed into her dressing room with the news. He was a jolly trader from the hegemony worlds. Min Hee, you must convince your government to change their minds. Your next album could sell 50 million copies across the core worlds. But Min Hee was already taking off her stage makeup. She grew up dreaming of the stars, of sharing human culture with beings she could barely imagine. She had achieved that dream, but at what cost? Earth's children were still not welcomed as equals at the galactic table. Some things matter more than album sales, she told her manager. Even dreams have to give way to dignity. Sometimes the effects kept spreading. Human students got calls to come back from alien universities. Human researchers left joint projects. Human merchants started closing their trade deals. Each departure was like pulling a thread from fabric, and the council was starting to realize how many threads humanity had woven into their society. Dr. Young-soo packed his laboratory equipment on the medical station orbiting Centauri Prime. He had worked with the healing cast for 7 years, developing new treatments for diseases that affected multiple species. His alien colleagues watched sadly as he prepared boxes for shipping back to Earth. You have saved millions of lives, said Tender of Wounds, the head of the medical team. How can your people ask you to stop this work? Young-soo sealed another box of research notes. The work will continue, he said, but it will continue with humans as equal partners, not as helpful assistants on the mining world. Kepler 442b Foreman Dongwook supervised the shutdown of the joint human-alien mining operation. They had been extracting rare metals needed for faster-than-light drives. The alien workers, mostly crystal beings who could work in the harsh underground conditions, gathered around as the human crew prepared to leave. We worked well together, said Crystal Singer, the lead alien miner. Why must politics destroy what works? Because respect matters more than efficiency. Dongwook replied, if we cannot be partners, we will not be servants. The ripple effects continued across the galaxy. Human teachers left alien schools. Human doctors closed their clinics. Human artists took down their exhibitions. Human engineers stopped work on half-finished projects. Each human who left took knowledge and skills that aliens had come to depend on. But the humans were not angry or bitter. They packed with quiet dignity. They said goodbye to friends they might never see again. They boarded ships bound for home. They had tried their best to belong, and now they were choosing to belong somewhere else. On the agricultural world, New Eden farmer Kyung-hee harvested her last crop. The food growing techniques she had developed fed 3 billion aliens across 12 worlds. Her alien partners, the plant people called growthers, had tears of sap running down their bark faces. Your methods have ended hunger on our worlds, said Root Deep, the eldest growthers. How will we continue without your knowledge? You will adapt and improve, Kyung-hee said gently. That is what living beings do. We shared what we could. Now you must grow beyond what we taught you. Student exchange programs shut down. Cultural festivals were canceled. Joint military exercises stopped. Scientific conferences were postponed. The careful web of cooperation that had taken 10 years to build was unraveling in days. Ambassador Na Young on the diplomatic station at Volf 359 fielded desperate calls from alien governments. They offered better trade deals. They promised fast-track membership procedures. They begged for just one more chance, but her orders from Earth were clear: pack up and come home. We are not a bargaining chip, she told the Alkari ambassador who had flown personally to see her. We are a people who deserve respect if that respect requires us to leave. Then we will leave with our heads held high. A galaxy watched in growing alarm as human ships converged on Earth. Each ship carried people who had built lives among the stars, families who had raised children on alien worlds, scientists who had made breakthrough discoveries, artists who had created new forms of beauty. all coming home because home was the only place that valued them as equals. The council chambers that had seen Hyunwoo's announcement now buzzed with emergency meetings. Aliens who rarely agreed on anything found themselves united in concern as reports poured in from across space. We are losing more than we realize, said Mind of Rivers, the wise Zentari philosopher. They were not just contributors to our civilization. They were the glue that held different pieces together. The alien leaders finally understood what they were losing. But the human ships were already in hyperspace carrying Earth's children home. The question was whether there was still time to call them back or if the damage to trust was too deep to heal. The galaxy had taken humanity for granted. Now they were learning the hard way that some mistakes cannot be undone. 3 weeks after Hyunwoo's announcement, the Galactic Council chambers buzzed with an emergency meeting. Delegates who never agreed on anything found themselves united in worry as reports came in from across space. The room felt different now, empty. Somehow, as if something important was missing. Prime Speaker Veltar of the Bug People spread his forearms wide as he spoke to everyone. The money reports are clear. Human withdrawal will cost us 2.3 trillion galactic credits every year in lost trade. A lone wing of stars. The bird delegate fluttered her feathered arms in distress. It is not just money. The humans were important to our joint defense plans. Their fighting ideas made our fleets 47% more effective during the Ravager Wars. Counselor Thex from the Lizard Empire stood up. His scales turned deep red, which meant he was worried. My people fought alongside humans in 16 major battles over the past 10 years. They fight with courage and creativity that our warriors depend on. Without human military advisors, our victory at Nexus Gate would have been impossible. The chamber filled with more worried voices as delegates realized what they were losing. The crystal beings talked about human engineering that had rebuilt their shattered cities. The energy beings admitted that human philosophy had helped them solve internal fights that had lasted for centuries. The water people spoke of human bioengineering that made their coral cities thrive, but it was Dr. Mind of Rivers from the tentacle people who said what everyone was thinking. His voice was quiet, but it carried the most weight. Fellow delegates, we are talking about what humanity did for us. Maybe we should look at what we failed to do for them. The chamber went silent. The tentacle people were known across the galaxy for their deep thinking. When one of their philosophers spoke, others listened carefully. I have looked at the voting records. For the past 10 years, Mind of Rivers continued. His tentacles made complex patterns in the air as he spoke. In that time, humanity supported council decisions 94.7% of the time. They gave resources, knowledge, and lives to our causes without hesitation. Pictures appeared above the chamber showing voting patterns, resource sharing, and casualty reports. The numbers were clear and undeniable. Humans had been more loyal to the council than most actual members, yet when we talked about full membership, we found reasons to delay, to postpone, to demand more proof of their worth. We treated beings who bled for us like children, asking permission to sit at the adult table. Delegate Ocean Song from the Water World spoke next. Her translated voice carried the rhythm of deep-sea communication. My world's coral cities are alive because of human bioengineering techniques. They asked for nothing in return, but the friendship we claimed to offer more voices joined the growing realization. The plant people spoke of farming advances that ended hunger on 17 worlds. The crystal beings described human art that revolutionized their understanding of beauty. The energy beings admitted that human philosophy helped them resolve fights that had raged for centuries. They gave us everything, said Counselor Brightthought, from the peaceful worlds, and we gave them a trial membership badge and a pat on the head. Prime Speaker Veltar clicked his mouth parts rapidly as he processed the growing weight of evidence. Surely this is emotional overreaction. One species, no matter how talented, cannot be so important to galactic civilization. But even as he spoke, new reports arrived. The Frontier Research Station, humanity's joint project with 6 other species, was shutting down as human scientists prepared to leave. The Revolutionary War Memorial on Kepler Prime, built to honor humans who died defending the station from raiders, stood empty as human families came to take their loved ones. Bought his home for burial on Earth. Intelligence Coordinator Flash of Insight spoke next. This being was made of pure energy, and their analysis was respected throughout the Council. The humans are not just leaving, they are carefully removing themselves from every part of galactic society. Trade agreements are being dissolved joint. Research projects are being transferred to full alien control. Mixed crews are being reassigned to single-species vessels. The coordinator's energy field flickered with concern. They are not abandoning their duties in anger or haste. They are conducting an orderly, dignified withdrawal that leaves their former partners with minimal disruption. Even in leaving, they show more consideration for us than we showed for them. Delegate Silver thought from the machine people added more disturbing news. Our production efficiency has dropped 18% since human engineers stopped sharing their innovations. Our manufacturing processes relied more heavily on human creativity than we realize. Crystal Delegate Harmony of Light made musical sounds that translated to deep worry. The humans solved problems we did not even know. We had their unique perspective, bridged differences between species that we thought were impossible to cross. The mind of Riz spoke. Again, his tentacles weaving slowly as he chose his words carefully. We created a system where beings could give their lives to our causes, but could not help choose those causes. We treated our most valuable partners as permanent. Children then acted surprised when they left to build their own home. The philosophical implications hit the chamber like a shock wave. The council had confused authority with leadership. They had demanded submission when they should have been earning cooperation. They had mistaken gratitude for contentment. A profound silence settled over the chamber as delegates realized the magnitude of their error. Humanity had not just been contributing members of galactic society, they had been the glue that held many different elements together. Their willingness to bridge differences between species, their talent for finding common ground where others saw only conflict, their ability to make enemies into friends. All of this was walking a wing of stars. The bird delegate spoke with a voice heavy with regret. The humans taught my chicks to fly in space. Their pilots showed courage that inspired a generation of our warriors. How do I explain to my children that we drove away their Hirososhin song? From the water worlds, added her voice, my mate learned human poetry. The rhythm of their words matched the rhythm of our ocean songs. They created beauty that transcended species. How do we replace art that touched our souls? The reports kept coming. Human doctors who had saved millions of alien lives were packing their medical equipment. Human teachers who had educated alien children were closing their schools. Human artists whose work had inspired new forms of beauty across the galaxy were taking down their exhibitions. Counselor Vextar from the hegemony worlds stood up slowly. The economic projections show that human withdrawal will trigger a recession across 40% of council space. Their trade networks connected species that had never worked together before without human merchants as intermediaries. Many of these relationships will collapse, but the economic damage was only part of the problem. The psychological impact was worse. The humans had been living proof that different species could work together as equals. Their departure sent a message that the council was not worthy of such cooperation. Prime Speaker Veltar finally spoke the words that everyone was thinking. We have made an error. The question now is whether it can be corrected, but across the galaxy, human ships were already entering hyperspace carrying Earth's children home. The question was whether there was still time to call them back, or if the damage to trust and dignity was too deep to heal. Dr. Mindovers had the final word. Trust is like a crystal formation. It takes years to grow, but can be shattered in moments. Some things, once broken, can never be restored to their original strength. The Council had learned too late that respect could not be given retroactively. That dignity once denied could not be restored with desperate apologies. The humans were going home, and the galaxy was smaller for their absence. Ambassador Nari pushed her diplomatic ship to maximum speed as she chased the human transport convoy. Her ship, graceful negotiation, was built for comfort and ceremonies, not for racing, but she ordered her engineering crew to push the fusion drives beyond safety limits. Ambassador, her pilot Swift Current, called from the cockpit. He was a skilled bird person. We are running at 112% of recommended power. If we keep this speed much longer, we risk engine failure. Keep pushing, Nari replied. Her eyes stayed fixed on the tactical display showing the human convoy still hours ahead of them. The Council has given me permission to make any offer necessary to bring them back to talks. She had known Ambassador Hyanwu personally for 8 Years they worked together on the Centauri Peace Accords. They celebrated together when the first human-alien joint colony was established on Kepler-4. They had been friends or so. She thought the fact that he had not warned her about humanity's decision hurt more than she wanted to admit. Captain Wonho stood on the bridge of the transport ship New Seoul, one of 50 ships carrying human citizens back to Earth. The convoy included scientists, artists, merchants, students, and families who had built lives among the stars. Many were leaving behind friends, lovers, and dreams that had taken years to build. Captain, his communications officer, reported, "We are getting transmission requests from 17 different council vessels. They are all asking us to stop for negotiations." Swan Ho looked at the faces around his bridge. These people trusted him to get them home safely away from a galaxy that never truly accepted them as equals. "Continue on course. We have no obligation to stop for anyone." But the chasing ships were not giving up. The Tentacle People's science vessel Deep Thoughts had joined the chase along with delegations from a dozen other species. They broadcast on all frequencies, pleading for just 5 minutes of conversation. Dr. Yun-Su aboard the research vessel. Curiosity watched from her laboratory as alien ships surrounded their convoy like worried relatives. Trying to stop a family member from leaving home in anger, she had spent 6 years developing new medical technologies. With her healing cast partners saving lives throughout the galaxy, leaving them behind felt like tearing away part of her soul. "Maybe we should listen to them," suggested her research assistant Dong Min. He was a young man who grew up on an alien world and spoke fluent bug language. "They seem really desperate." Tian-Su shook her head. "Desperate to keep using us, maybe, but not desperate enough to treat us as equals." The breaking point came when the personal yacht of Counselor Goldwing pulled alongside the human flagship. The bird diplomat broadcast on an open channel that every human ship could hear. "Please." Goldwing's translator carried the emotional sounds typical of bird speech when they were upset. "My youngest chick learned to fly by watching human pilots. My mate's business partner for 12 years has been the human merchant Sujin. Our cultures have grown together like trees in the same forest. You cannot simply tear out your roots and expect both of us to survive." The message hit home because it was true. Humanity had not just participated in galactic civilization, they had helped shape it. Human creativity influenced alien art. Human ethics changed alien philosophy. Human courage inspired alien heroes. Human innovation solved problems that had puzzled alien scientists for generations. Captain Wonho felt the weight of his decision growing heavier with each passing hour. Behind him, 50,000 humans trusted him to lead them away from prejudice and toward dignity. Around him, dozens of alien ships pleaded for them to stay and continue building something beautiful together. "Sir," his first officer commander Haijin approached quietly. "The crew has been talking. Some are wondering if we are making a mistake." Wonho closed his eyes and thought of his daughter. She had been denied admission to the Galactic Academy, despite having better scores than several alien applicants who were accepted. He thought of the human colony on Vega 3 that was left to face pirate raids alone because the council called it a local matter. He thought of all the small humiliations, the casual dismissals, the constant message that humanity was valuable but not valuable enough. The mistake was thinking we were wanted as anything more than useful servants, he said finally. "Maybe leaving will teach them the difference between having us and respecting us more." Alien ships joined the chase. A delegation from the Crystal People arrived in ships that sang with harmonic frequencies. The energy beings sent representatives in vessels made of pure light. The Water People came in bubble ships that looked like floating oceans. Each group broadcast their own desperate messages. "We have learned so much from each other," said Crystal Singer. "From the mining worlds, your people taught us new ways to shape metal and stone. How can we continue without your knowledge? You will adapt." Wonho replied over the open channel. "That is what living beings do. We shared what we could. Now you must grow beyond what we taught." Youth Plant People sent a massive bioship, grown rather than built. Its living hull pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that spelled out messages in human languages. "Your agricultural methods feed billions across our worlds," said Root Deep, the eldest plant being. "How will we prevent famine without your techniques? You have the knowledge." Wonho answered. "Use it wisely and remember where it came from." Behind them, the alien ships continued to follow like a parade of regret, trailing the humans home. But ahead lay Earth and whatever future humanity would build among the stars on their own terms. The chase continued through hyperspace, alien ships desperately trying to catch up to human transports that had no intention of stopping. Some of the alien crews had worked with humans for years. They knew human determination when they saw it. These ships were not slowing down no matter what offers were made. Ambassador Nari finally admitted defeat as her ship's engines began to overheat. Even if she caught the convoy, what could she offer that had not already been offered and rejected? The humans were not leaving because they wanted better deals. They were leaving because they wanted respect, and respect could not be negotiated like a trade agreement. The alien ships slowly fell back one by one, their crews realizing that some distances could not be closed by faster engines or desperate pleading. Trust, once broken, required more than speed to repair some wounds in the fabric of relationships once torn could never be mended to their original strength. The human convoy continued toward Earth, carrying 50,000 people who had tried to belong among the stars but found that belonging required respect. And respect was something the galaxy had been unwilling to give. They were going home not in defeat but in dignity, choosing to build their own future rather than accept a subordinate role in someone else's. Behind them, the alien pursuers watched the human ships disappear into the distance, carrying with them dreams of cooperation that might have been if only the galaxy had learned the difference between gratitude and equality, between usefulness and worth, between having allies and respecting them. The chase was over, but the real race had just begun. The race to see whether humanity could build something better on their own, or whether the galaxy would learn from its mistakes before it was too late to matter. 6 months after the withdrawal, Captain Tae-1 stood on the observation deck of the starship Independence, humanity's first completely independent exploration vessel. Unlike the mixed crews he had served on before, his ship was crewed entirely by humans, built with human technology and operated under human authority alone. Long-range sensors are detecting 3 habitable worlds in the Tau Ceti system, reported Science Officer Dr. Young Hee. Her voice carried excitement despite the serious nature of their mission. 2 appear to have existing ecosystems, and 1 shows signs of possible primitive civilization. Tae-1 nodded, making notes in his captain's log. This was their 15th system survey since Earth began its independent exploration program. Without access to Council star charts or alien technology, they were mapping the galaxy the hard way, 1 system at a time, using human innovation and determination. Set course for the outermost planet. First, he decided standard first contact protocols apply if we encounter intelligent life. The irony was not lost on him. Humanity had learned those protocols from the Council, had refined them through years of joint missions, and was now applying them independently. They were using the galaxy's own standards, but doing it as equals, not as students seeking approval. Back on Earth, President Song Jin addressed the Global Assembly in a session being broadcast to every human settlement throughout the Sol system. Behind her, holographic displays showed the progress of humanity's independent ventures, new colonies established without Council oversight, trade agreements with non-member species, technological developments that emerged from purely human research. 6 months ago, we made a difficult choice, she said. Her voice carried the weight of historic responsibility. We chose dignity over convenience, self-respect over submission. Today I can report that humanity is not just surviving our independence, we are thriving. The statistics were impressive. Without the restrictions of Council regulations, human industry had expanded rapidly. New fusion plants powered growing cities. Advanced farming systems fed a population that was healthier and more prosperous than ever. The freedom to make their own choices had unleashed a wave of innovation that surprised even humanity's greatest optimists. We have established contact with 12 non-Council species, the President continued. The Lone Wanderer clans, the Free Trader consortiums, and the independent research collectives have all expressed interest in partnerships based on mutual respect and equality. Dr. Sujin, working in her laboratory on Luna base, paused in her research to watch the President's address. Her work on quantum computing had progressed further in 6 months of independent research than it had in 3 years under Council oversight without alien senior partners constantly questioning her methods or demanding access to her early results. She was free to pursue radical new approaches. Humanity is charting a new course, President Songjin concluded. We are proving that independence and cooperation are not opposite concepts. We can work with others without making ourselves servants to them. The applause from the global assembly echoed across human space, broadcast to every colony and station where Earth's children were building their own future among the stars. But even as humanity celebrated its newfound freedom, messages continued to arrive from Council space. Some were official diplomatic requests, carefully worded invitations for dialogue. Others were personal communications from alien friends and colleagues expressing regret and asking if friendship was still possible. Colonel J. Min, now serving as head of Earth's independent military, reviewed the latest intelligence reports from the galactic frontier. The Council was struggling with conflicts. They had previously relied on human tactical expertise to resolve the Ravager clans. Were pushing deeper into civilized space, taking advantage of the reduced military effectiveness that followed humanity's withdrawal. They need us, observed his aide Major Kyung-soo, reading the same reports. Need and respect are different things, Jaemin replied, until they understand that we have nothing to discussing the outer reaches of human space explorer. Song-Wan was making first contact with a species of crystalline beings who had never heard of the Galactic Council. The conversation proceeded with careful respect and mutual curiosity. Both sides offered knowledge freely while maintaining their independence. Your people travel far from your home star, the crystal being who called himself Resonance of Truth observed. Do you seek to conquer or to trade? We seek to understand, Song Hwan replied through his translator. We believe the galaxy is large enough for many different peoples to thrive, each contributing their unique perspective to the greater whole. It was a philosophy humanity had tried to practice within the Council, but had been forced to abandon when their contributions were valued more than their voices. Now free to interact as equals with species who had no preconceived notions about humanity's place in the galactic hierarchy, they were rediscovering what true cooperation could accomplish. The human commonwealth was growing every month. New worlds were being colonized, not as Council-approved settlements, but as free human communities. Trade routes were being established with species that the Council had either ignored or rejected. Research stations were being built in regions of space that had never seen galactic civilization. Captain Minho, commanding the colony ship New Horizon, watched as the first human city was built on the world they had named Hope Prime. The planet had been rejected by Council surveys as too difficult to terraform, but human engineers working without bureaucratic oversight had found solutions that made the world not just habitable, but beautiful. The colonists were not refugees fleeing persecution, they were pioneers choosing to build something new. They worked with enthusiasm and creativity unleashed from years of bureaucratic constraints. Children born on Hope Prime would grow up as free citizens of an independent human world, not as junior members of someone else's civilization. Dr. Kyung-soo had established contact with the Wanderer clans, nomadic species that traveled between stars in great fleets. These beings had left Council space centuries ago, tired of being told where they could and could not go. They welcomed humanity as fellow independents who understood the value of freedom. Your people learn quickly, said Fleet Master Stormrider as they negotiated a mutual defense pact. Most species that leave the Council either become isolationist or get conquered by raiders. You have found the third path, cooperation without submission. The agreement signed that day brought the human Commonwealth into a loose alliance with 17 other independent species. These were beings who had chosen freedom over security, who valued dignity more than comfort, who understood that true strength came from voluntary cooperation, not forced hierarchy. Engineer Hai-jin, working on the construction of humanity's first independent starbase, watched alien visitors arrive to trade and share knowledge. These were not Council species coming to inspect or evaluate human progress. These were equals coming to do business with other equals. The difference was profound. When Council delegations had visited human facilities, they came as supervisors checking on the work of subordinates. When independent traders arrived at human stations, they came as partners looking for mutual benefit. We built this ourselves, said Hai-jin to a visiting crystal being who was admiring the station's innovative design. No one gave us permission or told us how to do it. We identified a need, found a solution, and made it real. The crystal being, whose name translated as Bright Facet, made harmonic sounds of appreciation. This is what cooperation should look like. each party contributing what they do best without anyone claiming authority over the others. The galaxy was watching Earth's experiment with fascination and growing concern. Humanity was proving that Council membership was not necessary for success among the stars. They were building alliances, exploring new worlds, and advancing their civilization entirely on their own terms. More importantly, they were demonstrating that the Council's hierarchical model was not the only way to organize galactic civilization. The human commonwealth offered equality to any species willing to treat others as equals. They welcomed diversity. While insisting on dignity, they shared knowledge freely while maintaining their independence. The question that echoed through council chambers and alien capitals throughout civilized space was becoming impossible to ignore if humanity could thrive without the council. What did that say about the council's value to other species? Would others follow humanity's example and leave to build their own futures? Would the galaxy fragment into competing civilizations or evolve into something better than what the Council represented? Humanity had answered these questions with their actions. They had chosen independence over subordination, dignity over convenience, freedom over security, and they were making it work. 2 years had passed since humanity's withdrawal, and Council Prime Speaker Veltar stood in what had once been the human embassy on Central Station. The building was now empty and had been converted into a memorial hall. Holographic displays showed images of human-alien cooperation, joint research projects, mixed crews, cultural exchanges. Moments of shared triumph that now felt like artifacts from a lost golden age. The Terran Integration Museum, as it had been officially named, drew visitors from across the galaxy who came to see what they had lost. The irony was not lost on Veltar that humanity was becoming more valued in absence than they had ever been in presence. His aide, Sharp Mind, approached with the latest reports. The third formal invitation has been rejected. Earth's response is polite but final. They will not consider rejoining the Council under current membership structures. Veltar clicked his mandibles in frustration. 3 times the Council had extended formal invitations for humanity to return. Each time the response had been the same: respectful gratitude for the offer coupled with a firm decline. Humanity was not angry anymore. They had simply moved on. What do our intelligence sources report about human activities? Veltar asked. The human commonwealth now encompasses 47 star systems. Sharp Mind replied, reading from his datapad. They have established formal treaties with 18 non-council species and trading partnerships with 31 others. Their technological development has accelerated beyond our projections. The reports painted a picture of a civilization that had not only survived its separation from the Council but had flourished because of it. Human ships now ventured into regions of space that Council vessels had never explored. Human colonies were thriving on worlds that Council surveys had dismissed as unsuitable. Human diplomats were mediating disputes between species that had been fighting for generations on the human colony world of New Harmony. Ambassador Jin-A was concluding negotiations with representatives from the Sigma Collective, a group of 6 species that had also grown frustrated with Council politics. The meeting took place in a conference room that looked out over a city where humans, crystalline beings, gas creatures, and robot people worked together as equals. The Human Commonwealth offers full partnership, Jin-A explained to the delegation. Not junior membership, not trial status, but complete equality in decision-making, resource sharing, and mutual defense. The lead delegate, a crystal being whose body refracted light in patterns that indicated deep thinking, pulsed with blue-white approval. This is what we had hoped the Council could become. But their hierarchy makes such equality impossible. Your Commonwealth offers what we had given up finding: true cooperation between different forms of life. The agreement signed that day brought the human Commonwealth's membership to 25 species, making it the fastest-growing political entity in the galaxy. More importantly, it demonstrated that humanity's vision of equal partnership was not just idealistic dreaming, but practical reality. Back in Council space, the effects of humanity's absence were becoming impossible to ignore. The war with the Ravager clans had reached a stalemate without human tactical innovation. Economic growth had slowed without human creativity, and work ethic, scientific advancement had decelerated without human ingenuity, pushing boundaries that other species considered fixed. Dr. Mind of Rivers, the tentacle philosopher who had first spoken about the Council's error, published a paper titled, "The Cost of Pride That Became Required Reading in Diplomatic Academies." Across the galaxy, his central argument was devastating in its simplicity. The Council had confused authority with leadership demanding submission when they should have been earning cooperation. We created a system where beings could contribute their lives to our causes but could not help choose those causes, he wrote. We treated our most valuable partners as permanent children, then expressed surprise when they left to build their own home. The paper sparked heated debate throughout Council space. Some species began demanding reforms to the membership process. Others suggested that the Council's hierarchical structure was fundamentally flawed. A few even proposed dissolving the Council entirely and creating something new based on the human model of equal partnership, but change in a body representing 300 species was slow, complicated by centuries of tradition and entrenched interests. While the Council debated and deliberated, the human commonwealth continued to grow and prosper. Captain Heinke, commanding the exploration vessel New Horizons, made first contact with a species called the Architects, ancient beings, who had been avoiding contact with the Council for thousands of years due to their rigid bureaucracy. The Architects were fascinated by humanity's approach to cooperation and invited them to explore ancient ruins that held secrets about the galaxies. Earliest civilizations, your people understand that wisdom comes from many sources. The lead architect, a being of Livingstone called Foundation of Knowledge, explained as they walked through ruins older than any known civilization. The Council demands that all wisdom flow through their hierarchy. This is why we withdrew from galactic politics eons ago. The revelation that other species had made the same choice as humanity, leaving galactic civilization rather than accepting subordinate status, sent shockwaves through the Council. How many potential allies had they lost to their unwillingness to share power? Dr. Suman, working at the new research facility on Titan, made a breakthrough in faster-than-light communication that could revolutionize galactic society. Her discovery came from collaborating with 5 different non-Council species, each contributing unique perspectives without anyone claiming authority over the project. This is how science should work, she explained to her research partner, energy being called bright thought. Each mind contributes what it does best, and together we achieve what none could accomplish alone. As the 3rd anniversary of humanity's withdrawal approached, Council delegations continued to arrive at Earth's borders, seeking dialogue, offering concessions, pleading for reconciliation, but Earth's response remained consistent. The Commonwealth was open to friendship and trade with all peaceful species, but they would not rejoin a system that valued their contributions more than their voices. The most painful moment came when a delegation of young aliens arrived at Earth. Many had been students in human schools, or patients in human hospitals, or audience members at human concerts. They spoke of how humanity had shaped their lives, given them hope, shown them new ways of thinking. Please, said a young crystal being whose patterns showed deep sadness. My people learned to sing by listening to human music. How can you abandon the children you helped raise? Human President Songjin met with the delegation personally. Her response was gentle but firm. We are not abandoning anyone. We are showing you that there is another way to live among the stars, a way based on respect rather than hierarchy. If your people choose to follow that path, you will always be welcome in the Commonwealth. The delegation left Earth with heavy hearts, but also with new ideas about equality and dignity that they would carry back to their homeworlds. Ideas that would spread and grow and eventually challenge the very foundations of Council authority. The human Commonwealth celebrate